You want me to zoom in on you?
No.
Okay. How do you feel about this video, Paul?
The zoom is just
I feel very good. Say it! Say you're happy with this channel!
I'm happy with the direction that we're going with the zoom.
Me too. like and subscribe, please! What's up, nerds? There's a whole bunch of plastic containers behind us that are used to store fishing tackle, and we're gonna talk about all of them. We've had experience with every single one of these items here, and we wanna give you our direct and authentic, honest feedback and review on all of them. Which one should you buy? Which one should you avoid? This is the ultimate buyer's guide to tackle storage. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's start at the top with your main method of transportation for most of your tackle. If you're going to a tournament, if you're driving somewhere, typically, unless you're Paul, you don't leave your tackle boxes just hanging out in your kayak or in your boat. Well, maybe you do in your boat. I guess in a bass boat, you have plenty of storage. So mainly bank fishermen, kayak fishermen, I'm talking to you. So what we use is one of these guys. And they're fairly inexpensive. This is something that you can pick up from the old Bass Pro Shop, Cabela's, whatever the heck you want to call it. And there's a ton of other brands out there that sell these. It's basically a duffel bag for your tackle boxes. I find them extremely convenient, and if they're well built, and by well built, I'm mainly talking about this shoulder strap situation. Like, that's gotta be heavy duty, double stitched metal, all of that. And that hard bottom there, very important, because you're gonna like basically carry your stuff and then go, there's my tackle, that's where it's living from now on.
It also doesn't get wet and it retains its shape really well even when the bag's not full. So hard bottom is a big one for me. That one comes in, I think, 3 to 5 different sizes. I have
Here's a smaller size. I have several of these. So just look these up on Bass Pro to get a recent price. They range anywhere from around 100 to 140 bucks for the 2 bags that I showed you here. So inflation, it kind of hurts a little bit. And at the same time, 140 bucks, that bag has lasted me forever. Yours will last you forever. Yeah. I think it's totally worth it. There you go.
And that's a new modern version they have available. We have the old one because it's been around forever.
If you're a bank fishing fam, I forgot the bona fide bag.
Hey, you sure did. Go get it.
Fine. Be back, Dad.
Bye, son.
We gotta keep all my heavy breathing in as I run up the stairs. Oh, and as I trip and fall.
And I'll just stand around.
All right, next up for the bank fishing fam, we got packs. We got bags. So bags with shoulder straps. If you want to take your tackle down to the bank, you want to spend 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours on the bank fishing, you want to have enough tackle where you're going to have a good time. Especially if you're going to move spot to spot, lake to lake, pond to pond, whatever you want to do, you need that good pond hopping or co-angler bag. These are actually fantastic for that as well.
That's what I've used mine for the most, actually.
Same.
So let's show the biggest pack, which I think is the Lose is the biggest one. By a smidge. So this is the Lose Mock bag. This is one of the most popular bags in this category. The next one that Paul will show you is also one of the most popular bags. So these have a ton of space. Here's the opening. Like, look at that. So what we like about these, and it's kind of hard to find with tackle bags, honestly, is when you have mostly 3,700 size boxes because of how we fish. For those of you who don't know, a 3,700 size box is sort of the largest standard size box. They're usually about 1.5 inches thick if they're not the deep version. This is the 37, so this is the larger one. And when he's talking about putting them in, he means they fit in this way, in vertically. Or this way, depending on how big your bag is. But a lot of them have dividers because they're meant for 3,600 size boxes.
This would be an example of one. And you can see if I open the bottom, and we'll get to this one in a second, that it has this little divider piece, and that's supposed to sit Velcroed up on the inside. So what you essentially have here is this little compartment area here. Go ahead and shove one in there. This
is a 3,600 size box, so it's about 1/2 the size of the other one. And they stack up there nicely. But that's nice. Yep. That's nice with the divider, because then you could still have a bunch of your plastics, lunch, jacket, whatever on top, and then you still get plenty of space for your hard baits. That can be really great. The best, and all of these backpacks, the large ones, these are the best version of this type of backpack because the divider's removable.
So what I do is I pull that divider down. This unfortunately becomes a useless front zipper pouch, but then this is also still top loaded. So that's the Bonafide pack. We'll get to that in a second. So because we got so much stuff to go through today, you guys, we have done full videos on each and every one of these items here. So you can find those on the channel if you want all the details and what we really feel. We want to hit like the biggest pros on these. And if there are any cons, we want to hit those too. So as far as the mock bag, I think it has an amazing top hatch here. You've also got this big zipper pouch up top. I don't use this sunglasses thing. It's neat or whatever.
But some people really like to have it.
Some people like to have it. There are no rod holders on here, which is one thing that people say is a con. I've never used one on a bank bag personally. This thing has an insanely heavy duty backpack situation, and all these gel pads here as well. Very comfortable. This backpack is insanely comfortable, even when you have about 50 pounds of tackle on your back. So I'd say very heavy duty.
Differentiator here too is all of these pouches, you can see they're blown out, which means there's a lot of room in them. And that goes for all four that are on the sides. The zippers are also super heavy duty, and so are the grippies. See the plastic grippies? That's actually a huge pro for a lot of different bags.
Yep.
The last thing I will say that I don't love, soft bottom. I prefer to have the hard bottom, but this one does have a weather resistant bottom, which is good enough for me.
Yeah, weather and abrasion resistant. So that, solid bag. We'll get to prices at the end. Sorry, rods. Not important. Ego bag.
So this is the Ego bag. I love this bag for a lot of different reasons. I love that you can attach anything you want to the sides here. So instead of like a mesh pouch, they went with like, hey, I can clip stuff on. I've actually clipped a waterproof like Yeti sidekick to the front of this thing. So clutch. Love the top divider. Again, full size interior with that Velcro and divider if you want to go with the front route. I do like and dislike both the clips. So you have these like metal clips that slide in and out. The nice thing about those is they don't break. The bad part about those is they're always flapping around, banging on stuff and getting caught on things. So I'm not sure I love those. Also, the pockets don't blow out, so there's not as much room as some other ones. These are the best straps in the game, and I'm willing to go to war over that. And this is the most comfortable one of all the packs that I've used. I'm ready to go to war over that one as well. Overall, very, very good pack. This is the sideline pack. It's a little bit smaller than the other two packs, which could be a pro for a lot of people. If you're gonna use this for other things, because Jeff and I both use this as like, hey, I'm going to my friend's house to go filming, like I am today. I'm gonna bring all my stuff with me too, or I'm going for a sleepover to play video games, like bringing that as well.
This is my go-to backpack for literally
everything.
Yeah.
I love that it has the hip pack. That is actually a huge bonus if you're really going overloaded. Yep. It has good straps. They're not the best. They're good, but they're not the best. Carrying handle is legit. It's like this rubber one.
Heavy duty.
HD. We love the sunglasses pouch, but that could be a lot of different things. I love the front pouch. This can be anything you need it for. And the magnet enclosure in the front is actually pretty intriguing. Now, it does have a couple of really cool features that I want to call out. Place for your pliers specifically, so that takes one more thing out of a pocket. It does have the rod holder thing, which again, a lot of people do like. I don't use it, but a lot of people use it. This is the biggest win for me, and something I think every backpack should have is a water bottle pouch for a big water bottle.
A deep and wide one.
You gotta be able to get the Nalgene in there.
If I can't fit it in there, it's not worth it.
I also like that they put D-rings all over the different packs. I'll show you another one too. It's just another way for you to clip something on. I use zingers all the time. It's clutch. So overall, very good pack. I also like how deep the opening is. A lot of these, they just do the top open. This is a benefit. So some pros and cons, it's just a little bit different, and being different sometimes is the best. So this is the smaller version of that sideline pack from Bonafide. It has a lot of the same features: magnetic enclosure, strappy doos, water bottle holder, place for your pliers. It's got all that kind of stuff. It's got smaller zippers, but they do work. So you get a pouch in the front, then you get your main compartment here. The crazy thing about this one, one, you can use it as a shoulder bag, which is really nice. Again, if you're just like a run-in gunner, ultralight, which we do all the time, that's great. This also straps to the back of your kayak seat. That's just like bonus storage and quite a bit of it, depending on what you want to put in there. So I think this is probably the most creative solution. This will be on the back of a kayak for me, and this will probably carry all of my BFS gear and tools. That's a big freaking dub.
So those are all like slightly higher price tier options. Obviously, every store you go to, if you go to Dick's Sporting Goods, you go to, you know, what
any retailer.
Shields, you name a retailer that has bags, right? They're gonna have cheap bags. They're gonna have knockoff bags. They're gonna have...
The Samurai bags are great.
Those are great.
There's tons of bags out there. These are just ones that we have experience with, and they're definitely on the higher end, but they come with some higher end features. That's just what we had to show you.
Yeah, I mean, just to share this too, we have bought the bags that are super cheap on like Amazon, for example. I've never been happy. I've also had the free spider wire bag. If you like buy enough stuff, you get a spider wire bag on Tackle Warehouse. I've gotten that. Wasn't happy with that. The samurai bags I think are sweet.
They are.
And you can save some money and get those for about $50 to $80 depending on which one you want. All right, one last one we want to show you as far as bags go is you can always get just like the slim and trim bare bones edition of a lot of these things. And I personally like a shoulder sling pack. If I'm just taking a couple of tackle boxes. So if I go ultralight fishing or I'm just testing something out, usually I'm grabbing this one right here. This is the Plano Weekend Soft Sider. Now this is the older edition, so it's not gonna look specifically exactly like the one you might see in the store, but it's the same idea. This is the 3700 size version, and there's something in the front. Oh yeah! I love this bait. I forgot it was in there. So it's a pretty sick bag. They do come with a surprising price tag if you buy it at full retail. It's around like 40, 50 bucks. You can get these on sale almost anywhere. Amazon, I just saw it on Carl's Bait and Tackle for $18.
There you go.
So you can get it basically for free. Do not pay full retail for this. It has no bells and whistles. None of them.
There's nothing here. I mean, you could get away with a shopping bag and do a lot of the same things. So, or if you have your own backpack, but yeah, just get any bag that holds the stuff you need if you need it.
The price point on all the bags, we already told you, the Weekender, do not pay full price. You can get it for super cheap. Find it on sale. The sideline.
Go from most expensive to least expensive.
So from most expensive to least expensive, the Ego bag that Paul showed you, that one is $170 hairs. It ain't cheap.
Hurts.
It has a lot of stuff, a lot of features. It is a very nice bag. You know, you just have to decide if you want to spend that kind of money. The Lose Mock bag is 160 bucks, and both of those bags I have seen on sale. Sometimes you can get them on sale, so just take this at face value. I get it.
This is the MSRP.
We can't control that. We're giving you the MSRP. All right, so the Sideline bag is a little bit cheaper. It's 140 bucks. I do like that for the backpack. It does not have nearly as many features as the Lose or the Ego.
But it's got some different ones that are really nice.
And then the smaller Sideline bag, the one you can strap to the back of your seat, that comes in at $89.99. That's kind of hefty for the amount of space that it stores. It does have some nice features, so it can snap right onto your seat.
And it can do a lot of things.
It's made specifically for bona fides, but it will work with the vast majority of seats that have aluminum tubing in them. You can make it happen, it'll snap to those. So I think it's worth it, but it is spending up a bit.
I do have a question. So I would want to know what cheaper bags would you want us to try? We've had quite a few, so I'm happy to do it, but I would like to try some of the newer ones that are out there. So if it's the Samurai Tactical bags or you just tell us what's your favorite cheap bag, we should probably do that video too. So leave a comment below and we look at every one, we'll check them out.
We do. We answer every single comment. Also, this is a channel without sponsors, so like everything that we use and review on here, we're giving you our actual honest and authentic feedback. Even if a company sends it to us for free or at a discount, we're always going to be honest with you, and we'll tell that company we're going to be honest with you. So if they still send it to us, they must believe in their product. I think that's cool. And if they're cool with us giving it like anywhere from a 4 to a 7 out of 10 instead of a perfect score because we got it for free, that's a win in our books. And hopefully this is more helpful for you guys. All right, let's get into some more stuff. I think we move to the swim bait storage next, and then we get to all the plasticky stuff. You can store swim baits a million different ways. This is not the only way to store them. We get it. Also, there's some things that we like and dislike about both of these, and there's reasons we each have the one that we have. So let's get into some options. Personally, I feel roll-up bags for big, heavy swim baits and glides is the best storage option. You can put them into boxes. What I've found is that the soft to hard tail swim baits and glide baits, they get warped in those boxes. So if you stand them up vertically, if they end up upside down, like any number of things could happen that is like normal in the day, and it ruins very expensive baits.
So frustrating.
I have found that this is the perfect method, so this is what I recommend. Now, there are many different sizes, and the one I'm gonna show you right now, I find is like inexpensive. It's a pretty solid option. The one I got, way too big. I'm gonna downsize it. So this is the I Surrender bag. So I got this bag on Tackle Warehouse for $34.99, which isn't bad when you consider how large it is and how many baits it stores. Look at that. So this is the 8-pocket large version. My recommendation, if you're a kayak fisherman, this is way too big. I cannot, and I've had this problem, I can't unfold this in my kayak without being scared that I'm gonna throw a glide bait overboard. There's just not enough room. My recommendation, go with the 4-pocket. You can store plenty of glide baits that you're gonna need for the day in that. Over this one, any day of the week, I would choose that. So at 35 bucks though, I think it's pretty good value. the issues that I run into with this. It is canvas material to these little plastic windows, right? And what I have found is that the stitching will start breaking. So these are gonna start to fall apart on you over time. I think it's an inexpensive solution that you can do a lot with, and there's probably better options out there. This is just the one that I've used. So for me, it ends up being like a 6.5 to a 7 out of 10. If I had the 4 pocket, I think I'd be happy space-wise, but material-wise, you're still gonna have the same issues. It's gonna start to fall apart. And if you guys get these, unless you get the one that Paul's gonna show you, you gotta get silica gel packs and just throw them into each of these pouches so that your very expensive hooks don't rust. There's one more bonus tip.
All right, because there's no airflow in that one, this is the exact opposite. This is the Plano Z Series wrap. This is $30 pretty much wherever you go. It's got a mesh back. Now the problem with the mesh back, we'll show you here in just a second, but what I like about this one is I like that it has handles. The handles are super clutch. I like that these Velcro straps, I'll show you how it opens in a second, make this so that it can expand and contract to the number of baits that you have in here. I also like that I can see everything from the outside. But when I like these D-rings, right? So if you've got $500 in swim baits and you're in a kayak and you want to strap them down, it's really easy to do so without creating a hassle. So I like all of this. You basically just unstrap and then you've got
unfurl
a ton of these. So this is how you keep them in. So then you just Velcro this open and then you pull out your swim baits. Now you'll notice I have, look at those little hook protectors on there. Because this is mesh in the back, the bonus of that, the benefit of that is that you have airflow at almost all times, which means there's a lot less chance that you're gonna have a problem with things getting nasty or rusting or just getting a little gunky inside of your giant bag. The con is that hooks get stuck in there and they'll never come out. So that is real bad. So you do need to use those. Yeah. What I've done is these are very inexpensive. I get 2 or 3 different sizes and I just leave all of the extras down there at the bottom. And then when it comes to my soft swim baits, you can see my Baka Burrito there. It's in its original packaging, which means I can use it for soft-sided as well, and they are perfectly protected. I love this thing for 30 bucks. It is also extremely durable. I will have this forever. When I first got it, I hated it. Then I look back at what I paid for and what I now have, and I'm super happy with my purchase. So I accidentally bought like my favorite thing.
I think it's beneficial for us to show this on videos as well because Plano does an absolute trash garbage job at marketing this
Huge
thing.
Disservice.
We didn't even know what it was going to be.
No idea.
There's like no pictures online.
I was purchasing on a prayer.
All right, so we're gonna go through some, we call the oddball category, the things that don't exactly fit into the exact dimensions of what is tackle storage.
Yeah.
So let's get into some of those. And we'll start out with this one. You would look at this and you would say,
dumb.
I sure as heck hope not, because I think it's pretty neat.
It is.
This is the Busby Fast Flats. So these do come in several different sizes, from like what essentially is a 3700 size box down to a 3600 size box.
So it would match these dimensions right here exactly.
Yeah. And they also have a half version. They have these anchor points so you can actually like zip tie it or tether it or whatever you want to do to anywhere on your boat or kayak. Now these are flat, obviously, hence the name. So they don't have a ton of room and they don't also expand. So something to keep in mind
because they are durable.
Yeah, they are, we'll get to that. They are very durable, but you can't like just fill this thing to the max. They do have a heavy duty zipper. They are weatherproof. They are not waterproof.
They're not submersible. Rain and splashing, you're not getting wet.
So it will keep most of your stuff dry. I love these for tools, for my fishing license, for my phone, for stuff like that.
I use mine exclusively for all of my terminal in my kayak. I'm telling you, this changed the way that I started packing my kayak. I got rid of a whole terminal box because I use this. So I keep like jig packs and stuff like that. All of these original packages, they're great because you can keep everything split up and then you can put them in there. Labeled if you want. And I actually just bought these online. These are like Mylar packs, $7 for 100 of them. They all go in there, and that means I can keep all my different sizes, all my different styles, and you just jam them in there. It's great for lines. I keep all my leader line in there too. One pack, all my big terminal. I love that thing.
So these are fantastic. They do come at a cost. Now they are super durable, so keep that in mind, but they range from $25 to $35. So the price, that's a con. Also the fact that they are flat and they don't have this like nice opening bottom, what they would call a gusseted bottom, it prevents you from loading these things up
Which is like good and bad because it's great for what it is. And if it got too big, it wouldn't be what it is.
Yeah,
so like
keep it slim and trim.
So here's an example of a gusseted bottom, right? It allows the bag to stand up flat and obviously holds way more. So this is like the 6 cents bait bag.
Every company has a version of this. We have found that the 6 cents gusseted bottom is like our favorite. You can load these suckers up and you can just sit it behind you in a kayak.
For clamshells, baby.
Yeah, these are great for clamshells as opposed to one that doesn't open up like that fast flat. Yeah, or just like the standard generic ones that don't open up on the bottom. You can't stuff clamshells in there.
It's annoying.
2 or 3 clamshells, that thing explodes. The zipper breaks. But also though, we have found almost every single version of these gets this moldiness going on.
Oh yeah.
It gets bad. Like you have to open them up and air dry it. Then there's an extremely inexpensive solution that you could go with like this.
These are from HarmonyFishing.com. Found these on Amazon. These were $1 a piece, 10 for a 10 pack. They do have a gusseted bottom. They're not quite as big as the other one. They don't have a zipper, so that's a bummer. They have, it's basically a very big sandwich bag. But I actually have started.
Which, by the way, you could just get Ziplocs.
You could just do Ziplocs.
This is just a little heavier duty with a gusseted bottom.
And you can write on the top.
But it is certainly more expensive than a Ziploc.
Yep. And these are fantastic. They've held up. I actually just give these as giveaways now. So when if you come onto our show and you're like, I want a giveaway.
You get that.
You get one of these that's completely full of baits. Now I could fit around 20 to 25 bags of plastics, depending on the plastics. And then this is also good for hard baits. So just general storage, not bad.
Most of those little zipper bags that you can get from all these different brands are gonna run anywhere, depending on if they're doing a sale or if they just give it away for free, from like $5 to $20, depending on the size.
6 cents ones are $9 from Tackle Warehouse. Now, we talked about the fast flats, they were intentionally flat. There's a not flat version of that exact same thing, and it's called the Quick Cube. So this is basically the 3D version of the fast flats with a totally different intended use. They come in 2 different
3600 and 3700 box sizes.
They got this little grippy here on top with Velcro if you want to Velcro something like a label to the top, but basically it's a really heavy duty handle. They've got the zipper with the heavy duty zipper grips and then a clear window on top. Heavy duty backer. That's what that is. So they come in 2 different sizes. There's the 3700 like Jeff said and the 3600 and then they have their, this is the deep. Yeah.
They have a deep and a thin version. Well, regular size.
This is the deep. Jeff, hold up the regular. And these are like storage tray, deep and regular sizes as well. So these, the nice thing about these matching tackle box like dimensions is that when you're filling up a backpack, if you want to take one of these instead of a tackle box, it fills up the same amount of space, which is like wonderful when you're stacking them up in a kayak. Everything's designed around like these type of boxes so that these are the same size. Is wonderful. These also do really well with clamshells. So I do have, like when we were doing some A-rig fishing, I had all of the plastics for A-rigs plus all the actual A-rigs in tubes. I had them in here. So like, just very flexible storage, indestructible.
Couple quick cons. Big thing with this, it opens up
all the way.
And too much at the same time.
Well, we'll show you what it means.
Oh God.
So we're gonna find out. So these do open up all the way, but
it starts to flex.
Doing one of those.
So you can spill everything out of this. That is unfortunate.
One of the things that we've been talking about with Busby that I would love to see is a gusseted bag, but like their version. So like if you had that 6 cents bag, if you did the Busby version of that, that would be the only thing I would carry.
I would marry you.
They're so awesome. Yeah, they're great. So those are 30 to 40 depending on the size. Right. So be really quick with these. These are the Plano speed bags. These come in 2 sizes, one that's like half this length and then this one. People have loved these. There's little like, I feel like they're cardboard, like we'll call them plates that are included in the sides here. But as you open these up, they open up from the top and then they sort of like,
look at that.
They do that. And these are intended for plastic, so they're designed to fit 2 bags of plastics on each side. And even long ones, you can kind of alternate them. So you get a little plastics bait library inside of this KVD Plano speed bag. They are technically water resistant because they have a
DWR
disgusting DWR finish on the outside. So while that specific one is not available anymore, they have a new version. They're around 15 bucks depending on which size of model. Again, there's the medium size, there's a tall size, there's a long one. They have ones without the DWR. So it's changed since that release. So go check those ones out. I have not used the new ones. Maybe we should try and do that. So again, leave comments down below. We're asking for different versions. If this is something that you guys love, I will go grab one. We'll go test it out. Done deal.
It's something I've actually thought about. I know we didn't like that one. They do make one now.
Yeah.
with this
The new
material
version
from Plano, I would do that in a heartbeat. And now that I have the Old Town, which doesn't have room for this gigantic vessel we'll get to in a second,
get to that.
I'm considering getting some. So I don't know. I know we've said we don't like them in the past, and people were like, "How dare you?" And like, I'm sorry.
Well, we want to know what's your favorite, right? So, especially if you're a kayak fisherman, for storing your bulk plastics, and like, what do you use? We've been using crates. We'll show you in a minute, but tell us what your favorite plastic storage for inside the kayak is, and we'll go check out some of those models.
Let me know what you guys think between that Plano option and the Z-Mans. So Z-Man makes it as well. The Z-Man is way more expensive.
So expensive. When we were. Should we just go to crates?
Let's go to crates. Get this out of here.
When we were shopping around for crates, Jeff went with the expensive option, which is this
very expensive
Sitio crate. So Jeff, go ahead and show them what we're working with here on Sitio.
Hold it.
Oh God.
The heaviest duty lid in the world.
It is very heavy duty and it's clear, which is nice. Yeah. It's got these dividers and you can see all these different little slots right here. Means you can move these wherever you need to. You can get as many as you want. They even make little labels here, which is dope. From a plastics perspective, he's got this set up for plastics on two sides with the long stuff in the middle, which I think is really nice. This fits underneath the Vantage Pro seat in the Hobie Pro Angler very well, which is nice.
But it fits under no other kayak seats,
really. And that's a problem because it's too big for a lot of seats. It's got handles on the sides. It's got a nestled bottom if you wanted to get a couple of these. And this lid is bonkers heavy duty. And it does have these latching lids, which is nice because if you flipped or if you had any kind of issue, you're not losing all the plastics out the top.
It's not going anywhere. So
it's also 60 bucks.
Well, I'll get to that. It does also have this perforated bottom, so all water runs out of this thing, which is really nice, and you don't get that with a lot of tubs, like the one we'll show that Paul has in a second. And at the same time, it comes with a hefty price point. So once you have to pay separately for the lid. It comes with 2 dividers. If you want more dividers, you got to pay for them. If you want labels, you got to pay for them. Don't. The labels are not worth it. The labels are dumb. You can just look at the plastic.
But you do you.
I had the labels. Not worth it in my opinion. This crate also, unless you have a Hobie, you're already spending tons and tons of money where this becomes essentially a drop in the bucket for extra accessories. I wouldn't get this. No. It's just something I did. I was happy with it.
They're cool. It's really nice.
It's probably not going to go in another kayak of mine unless I keep my Hobie.
It won't fit.
So anyways, pretty sweet. All in, you're probably looking at $70 to $80 though. So
and it's heavy.
Yep, and it's very heavy.
So here's the opposite option. This is could not be the more opposite version of the same thing. So this is a tub that you would normally be washing dishes in, and it happens to have a lid, which is nice. Now the lid doesn't snap down; it's just resting down. It does nestle, which is great, but look at the size of that opening. I can fit quite easily 1 to 150 packs of plastics inside this tub. It fits right under the Vantage Pro seat, just like Jeff's does, to the exact centimeter. It's wonderful for what it was. This will not fit in a lot of your underneath the seat of a lot of different kayaks. So this is now, for the most part, useless to me.
And also we should point out, if you guys have maybe a smaller space underneath your seat, you can get both of these types of bins in half sizes, or you could pick up something like this.
Now that whole tub setup is like less than $15. So that's a huge benefit, and it's super heavy duty.
Couple quick cons on that one. Obviously the lid not snapping off will blow away if you leave it on your kayak.
If you're driving.
It has.
And it has gone, and I had to get another one, and it was like seven more bucks, and I was like, well, that's annoying.
So there's that. It also doesn't have any dividers, which is something I didn't think was like necessary until I got the Sitio crate.
It's nice.
It's very nice, because otherwise you have to just like line all those plastic stuff.
Which area the tubes are in.
So there you go.
And you could drill holes in the bottom if you're really worried about drainage.
True.
Or you can go get some of these for $6 or $7 or $4 or $5. These go on sale every holiday season if you don't mind a red handle or a green handle. This is actually where we started. That's where we finished. And then we'll see what comes next. So that's why
now we're going somewhere else.
Yeah, we want to know what you guys are using to separate your plastics inside your kayak, so we can go check out some new stuff. So back to oddball stuff.
Going to what's considered specialty boxes at this point.
So this is the spinnerbait box from Flambeau. It's got the super heavy duty handle. It has dividers. There are 3, which means 1, 2, 3, 4 compartments.
Hang on. There's no spinnerbaits.
There's no spinnerbaits in here because I absolutely hate this box for spinnerbaits.
Oh no!
I actually tried to use this for plastics. Yeah. I don't like it for spinnerbaits because even when you're hanging them on here, it was like the dividers were at an awkward length for the number of spinnerbaits. I'll show you a better version of that in a second. But even if you're using these for plastics, it can work for plastics. It's not my favorite, but I like the way that it operates. This is pretty clutch. It opens more than 180 degrees. It is relatively inexpensive, and it's great for line. I wish it was solid, but now I just use use it for line because I find this to be too big and bulky, and I don't use spinnerbaits that much. So
if you're in a bass boat, something like that is great, or the Plano Edge version we'll show you in a second, but if you're not in a bass boat, it is not a good idea. They also make a half-size version of that from Flambeau that I have had 2 of because they break constantly. I actually have one upstairs that is full of spinnerbaits.
Do you really?
Yeah, that I am giving away at some point on one of our members-only podcasts. So that one comes in a lot cheaper. I think I got it for $10.
And then the deep size is 16. So not very expensive. I don't need it. It is what it is.
Some people like it. Here's the Plano Edge version.
I also don't recommend this.
This is extremely expensive.
So this is like $50 for one of these?
Actually, it's $49.99. You are
How
incorrect.
could you be so wrong? All right, so for $49.99, just shy of $50, without tax and surcharge and shipping, you can get yourself this box to hold 40 spinnerbaits. Look, I like that
you could write spinnerbaits right there.
Thank the Lord.
Or buzzbaits.
Comes with the unreasonably heavy-duty handle.
Listen to that jingle, you guys. It's ho, ho, ho.
Christmassy AF. So it's got a nice hinge. It's got this is actually the best version of the Edge lid. It's the best. So anyways, you open this up, and then you've got these dividers that slide around and basically just hang your spinnerbaits along the way here. It works very good. Some pros on it is that it's very heavy duty. Another pro is that you can carry it sideways. As long as you don't tip it upside down, everything stays where it's at, which is actually a really big benefit. Yep. It holds a decent amount of spinnerbaits, which is great, but it's for $1 million. It's way too heavy and it's way too darn big. So what I do is because I have one, I use that as like a library where I store my spinnerbaits by color and style.
Me too.
And then what I do is I take a Busby box, a brand spanking new one. I love the imported smell here.
You're gonna have to, yep, there you go. Smells like transport.
So they all come with this square one. Now I can fit, depending on the size, anywhere from 7 to 12 spinnerbaits inside of this box right here.
So we've done plenty of tackle storage videos and buyer's guides in the past. What we're gonna call out right now is there are obviously many cheap versions of tackle boxes that you can get. We're not gonna review any of them in this video because we've already done that ad nauseum.
And they're great. So anything from, this is like even a more expensive type of Plano. You can get the ones with the non-latching and half the size with no gasket for like $2 or $3. That's great. Go use those. If you like those, I'm not trying to stop you from using those. We're just going to show you some other options today.
Once you want to like upgrade tackle storage, if you want different features, if you want different storage options, if you want specialty options.
If you need a day box where it's one box and I'm going to use this one or these two every single time I go and I need something heavy duty, this will be the time to look.
If we're spinning up a little bit, we're going to move away from the stowaway here. We're going to go to three small boxes that we actually really like. So these are technically the 3500 size, if you're looking them up.
So 3700 is like the standard size that you're oh so used to.
Very big.
3600 is slightly smaller in all dimensions except for the depth.
Witty bitty. You get little guys like these. So we'll show you these two right here. The same size box essentially, but we got the Busby Colony 8T, which also is standing for thin edition. And then you've got your Plano Edge in the 3500 size.
Now these are great for you river fishermen because you can see you get your lumbar, your side pack, your sling pack. You can keep anywhere from 2 or 3 of those inside of most of those scenarios. Or if you have something like BFS gear or ultralight gear that you take with you all the time, but you don't always grab into, this is just enough to keep you covered and you can stash it somewhere in your kayak or your backpack.
Pros and cons of Plano Edges and Busbys throughout all of these that you're gonna hear from us. Let's start with the Plano. The biggest issue that we have with Plano is that you can't like just grab from the
top.
From the top.
A lot of times these are gonna be stored vertically. So when you go to grab it, you're actually grabbing the thing that opens it.
Oftentimes it opens up, it spills all over your kayak or crate or bag or whatever.
And Jeff just did it.
And this happens constantly. So this is not, see here you can see.
It's not closed.
That's closed. Yeah. So here you can see this side's closed, this side's not. All I did was try to snap it down. So the one latch is like great in theory and concept.
The idea is so good.
It really, it's so close to perfect. Like I want to love it, but I constantly am spilling my terminal box, which you'll see in a second.
I was about to say, the horror comes in with this box right here. So this is the terminal edge box. It is such a great idea. You have like for just weights up here, it's wonderful. You have all these little dividers, flip-flop windows. You can move these around as needed. I carry 2 of these at all times. Just fully transparent. I had 2 of these all the time. This thing weighs
a lot.
7-8 pounds.
A lot.
It's heavy, but it's thin. The design is great, but it is impossible to close
properly every
with
time.
consistency. See how that right there? Now, I'm being disingenuous. If you're really careful, you know, spread your whole hand to both sides, apply even pressure,
Someone's
and now
gonna say
it's
that.
perfect. So you can definitely do it. I do it. I use this all
Do
the
it
time.
right.
It's heavy duty. It's great.
Yeah.
However,
And
when at one point it will happen. It's happened to me.
It's gonna happen.
It's happened to me once.
it's happened to me twice.
It will. You'll think it's closed. You go to set it down, and these will spill everywhere. Not only are you going to lose hooks, you might get one in your foot. The real rub is that you have to reorganize everything. And oh, I'm having anxiety just thinking about it. So that is the blessing and the curse of the Plano version of this edge.
Any of the Plano edges, you're gonna have that same issue. It's just something we have to call out. Now, if you do it properly and gently, I get it. Everybody in the comments is gonna like hate on us for not liking that part of the edge.
I'm still using it.
You can use it properly. And also notice, we still use them because there's some purpose to it. Other than that, I think they're fairly heavy duty. If you drop these on the corners, they will shatter. They will explode. My jig box did that. I duct taped it.
The big chunk came out of the corner. Yeah.
It was awful. And that was, again, just from setting my Bass Pro bag down.
Yep.
Setting.
Now-
That might have been my fault. I get it.
So here's the Busby version. Now the difference with Busby is this. One, a lot heavier duty plastic. Now that does make the boxes themselves slightly heavier, maybe 20%, 30%
They're a little
heavier.
bulkier. They're a little heavier.
Yeah.
We get it. They are bigger.
You got a nice heavy duty bar going through the back here, and you can see that it's alternated. You can see there's a little overbuiltness happening throughout the Busby. You can also see the overbuilt nature of the latches. Now the latches, there's two of them, there's not one, and this is a sort of like flick to open latch. That's what I typically do. And then you can see it's got the gasket, it's 100% waterproof. These float, which is great when they're closed all the way. And then the real benefit of the Busby is you've got these trays that can pop in and out, and you can move them as needed. They make all different sizes. And, you know, wonderful, flexible storage.
The cons that constantly come up with Busby, they are heavier, they are bulkier, they are more expensive. Sometimes they run a sale, that makes it completely reasonable. I've seen them for 20 to 33% off on the website, depending on the holiday. So there is that as well. So this Colony 8T comes in at 20 bucks, which is not too shabby when you consider like the storage option here. Now, these do not snap into place. That's not what they're supposed to do. They
nestle.
they nestle, they kind of squish into place. So as long as you just squish it in there.
If they're flush, you're good.
If I take this tackle out so I don't get hooks in my floor, if they're flush, right, with the side there, you're good. They're not gonna come out. So anybody who's saying that they do that, I don't know what happened to you, but I've gotten
You gotta work on your
hundreds of these boxes and they don't do that to
Just
me.
gotta work on your geometry.
Wow.
So the Plano version of the same size is 18 bucks, 17.99. So comparable in price.
So the pros and cons of the Edge and the Busbys, they're gonna be consistent throughout the rest of these, so we wanted to address it up front. Again, Busby, heavier, bulkier, more expensive. Plano Edge, we don't love the latch system, and they're not as durable. One more little box that we got for you guys just came out. This is kind of like the star of the show for us right now. I'm super pumped about this thing. So this is from our boy, Ethan Duvetter, owner of BurlyFishing, and it's got this very nice printed label up on the top. Look at that. All right, so this is a double-sided box, brand new from BurlyFishing at possibly the best price out of any package option that you're gonna see on this entire video. This is $10.
God, that's good.
$10.
And it's got its own edge.
So it's got the single latch right there, opens up, and on this side, you've got this perforated foam. So if you guys have ever used the Bass Mafia, I get it, another brand we're not currently featuring in this episode.
Just don't have one.
We don't have them anymore, and there's a reason for that. We're not huge fans. Bass Mafia, one of the things that they did that I really did like about their old terminal coffins is that they had this perforated foam in here. So what you can do with that, Paul's grabbing a jig right now.
So if you take your BurlyFishing jigs, which are wonderful. If you're an ultralight fisherman, this really is what this is intended for. So the openings are a little bit smaller, so you're not gonna fit like a full-size jig. I'll get that one in a second.
You're not gonna put a 5/0 in here.
No. But for light and ultralight, up to a quarter, you're probably safe.
So there you go. So you got your jig in there. It's not coming out. That is super neat. So you can have all of like, if you got some pre-rigged stuff, I would just tuck it right into here, and then it's see-through, so you can see straight to it. Neat. And then you got the same latch on the other side, and on this side, you got all these itty-bitty little baby dividers in there, which is super cool. So then you can go ahead and break those up like you do with all your normal storage options, make your little divider sections, and
See how thin they are? They're not deep, and that's what I was talking about. So because the double-sided box, it's still not very deep. This really, again, is not meant for giant stuff, but you can kind of get an idea at the depth there.
So most of your jigs though, like if you want to just line up all of, for me, it'd be like the 132s to the 1/80th ounces, like they're all just going to be in here. So I can divide it up by color to my heart's content with a couple of jigs per slot. I think this is going to be perfect, and having 2 of these is going to be even better. So I can have a big jig set and a small jig set for ultralight and DFS. It's a great, cheap option for ultralight.
It's perfect.
There you go. Okay, so one more specialty box here, and then I want to get to all of this, kind of the showdown that everybody's...
What you've been waiting for.
Hey, let's be real. Like, these are the standard boxes everybody's buying. This other stuff, most of it's unnecessary. One I wanted to call out that I picked up this year because we really just got into A-rig fishing. So with our Alabama rigs, you need a nice way to store these things. I found this Plano box. It was like 15 bucks, super cheap. It's not the best material. Obviously, you got the basics, latches and whatnot, but it's got these unique dividers in here to keep your Alabama rigs, you know, compact without bending the wires. This thing's fantastic. Anybody who fishes Alabama rigs, this is something I recommend. I get that you can use like a tennis ball tube, and I think it was Alfredo on our trip used it. He was on Paul's team. That was really cool to see. Like, there's lots of different little ways you can do it. I just thought this was neat. All my A-rigs in one place that I use most of the time. It's good. So, the showdown! Showdown time. We've got... Mostly, as you can see, our arsenal is mostly Busby, but we do use a ton of Plano edges, and then you'll see this bright...
No, what the heck is that?
Orange thing? Orangish red?
It looks a lot like this.
It's like blood orange color.
These are basically the same
almost. It's odd how close the Plano
even like look
is.
at the labels are identical even.
That's odd.
How weird.
I wonder if anybody would get in trouble for that.
We'll find out.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
So we'll start with the edges then. We got these in a couple different sizes, and there's a couple specialty options in here as well, but we wanted to show you this difference first. Okay, so let's take a closer look. We got this company, KastKing, who just came out with essentially the exact same thing as a Plano edge. I mean, look at it. The bottom looks the same. The latch looks exactly the same. The top is see-through, the same. I get it, this is a Plano Edge Flex. We don't have any standard Plano edges anymore because we just use Busby's more. I have only the specialty Plano edges, because
jig box, flex box, etc.
I feel like that's where the edge actually excels, in my opinion. So, is this worth it? This is cheaper, not by much. So these come in 2 packs mostly. This 2-pack for the 3700 size box is $40 on KastKing's website. Now, KastKing is known for doing a lot of sales. So I think when I bought this, it was like $35, maybe cheaper. So you might be able to find it on sale, in which case it comes out cheaper, much cheaper than the Plano Edge.
A Plano Edge is 25 bucks almost anywhere you go. The prices vary, but roughly $25 is like the average for a standard Plano 3700 size Edge box. There are some key differences though, and one of them may actually make it better.
It's gonna freak you out at first. So you lift that letch. First of all, that was heavy.
It's so much more secure.
That thing snapped on there, but check this out. It opens this way, and this is different.
So hold on, let's show the difference. So
if
I have the Plano Edge, you pull the top down.
Right.
With that one,
you lift it up.
You actually, you lift the bottom up. Bottom up, top down. Weird. I know it seems stupid, but in this scenario,
kind of a big difference.
It's a huge difference. So the edge is actually attached to the lid, and here the edge is actually attached to the tray.
Yep. So that was interesting. You still got your little gasket going around the outside, so it's mostly waterproof-ish. And then you've got your little dividers already set in here versus with the Plano Edge, most of the time you get them in a big old sleeve. You even have all the way down to the little silica gel thing, exactly the same. So I don't know, honestly, how KastKing pulled this off.
Well, this is a cheaper lid. So let's just say that. I will say the lid here is a little bit less heavy duty than the Plano Edge lid.
Yeah, that's fair.
The latch is way more secure. Again, this one's new, this one's a little bit older.
Look at the hinges.
Oh, no,
they're not.
No, there's a bar.
They're not even close.
Oh, no.
So KastKing's hinges are all plastic tabs.
So right here, you can see there's like a little not a tongue and groove, but like a little, how do I want to say that?
It's a tab in an indented section. It's like the worst type of hinge you could actually make. Because if that tab breaks...
I can pop this off. Yeah. Just right there.
Please don't.
I'm not going to, but you can feel, now it's working just fine. It's working just fine. But compared to what Plano does, they have a metal bar that goes all the way through.
This is obviously much heavier duty, so
Yeah. I mean, I like the latch system on the Cast King better.
And then you can compare that to a Busby, which has a metal bar that goes all the way through, not just here and here, against this, which is backing it up. That's your difference. That's one of your major differences right there. So that being said, lid's a little cheaper. The hinge system is not quite as heavy duty. The bottom is equivalent, I would say. This actual latch itself, I think, works better. It's a lot easier to close, and it is very secure. Everything else, I'd say, is equivalent.
I want the edge to get this latch, but also, here's one of the things you got to think about. When these things are stacked up, how well do they nestle, right? So do they nestle together? Do they stay pretty secure? The Cast Kings do not at all.
These are much better. They can move forward and backwards a bit, side to side. They're really secure.
It's still not great. And then this here, well, they won't believe us. We have to do it more aggressively. You guys don't believe me, but these do not move at all. Once it's like in this little groove section here, like you are super secure, right? If you're not in there, of course it's gonna slide, but like once you actually set these things together, that's the most secure stacking system there is. Period. The end. They actually sell a cable lock that goes through all of these.
Yeah, so there's if you're a boat owner, this would make a lot of sense. But you can see there's a hole right in there.
Yep.
When you have them all nestled together, when they're not moving around, a cable goes all the way through. You can lock them up.
Padlock that sucker.
From a standard box standpoint, the biggest differences between this box and this box we talked about, hinge, latch, etc. Hinge, latch, etc. is here too. So you lose the edge, which for some people is a huge benefit. Totally get that. This to me doesn't seem like a lot of work. It works really well.
One extra thing.
And it's extremely heavy duty. This is a metal bar with a plastic press down, which I really like. And it actually cinches that waterproof gasket around so that it's actually waterproof when you close the lid.
And it can also be overloaded, so like
anything's overloaded.
Anything else, if you overload it, it's not going to close properly. So
don't do that.
Make sure you don't overload it.
Now the thing that you're getting with the Busby that you don't get with any of the other boxes,
even with this, go ahead.
You get a limited, compared to the Busby, you get limited ability to modulate your box.
So this is set up a specific way right now. These little bars, they can be moved, but they have a limited number of options that you can adjust this to. Period. It's limited to the number of slots in the box.
Now the Busby, you can do whatever you want. So I have a frog box, and it's just completely empty. It's like what Jeff has, but it's completely empty.
The only reason mine isn't is because of this stupid wiggle bomb.
Which no one even needs.
I use it. I've caught fish on it.
That's happened.
And then for spare parts with like, buzz toads or whatever.
Oh!
Well, now I don't need it. Empty it.
Yeah.
Gosh dang.
So this is actually, my top water box actually looks like this. And I actually the nice thing about it is we were talking about how these squares, they hold a lot of spinnerbaits. Some spinnerbaits and some buzzbaits are too big to fit in here. All I do is I take 2 of these out, and then I can put as many buzzbaits and spinnerbaits as I want stacked inside of the Busby, which is really nice. And then if you want a jerkbait box, my jerkbait boxes, they're all long and skinny. So I have all long and skinny ones in there. Some people use these for plastic. So if you need to keep your Z-Man separate from your non-Z-Man so they don't mesh together into a big hard ball, a lot of people put plastics inside of these as well. And then you get all the way down to like 1 of these cubes, 2 of these cubes, 3, 4. You could do whatever you want, which is really great.
So we're gonna fly through all these. This is the Colony 15 from Busby. This is the standard size. This is the deep size. There's a difference there. There's also a thin version of most of these boxes from Busby as well, just like you saw with that Colony 8T, which slims it down even more. So you got a couple different options. If you like your 3600 size boxes, you're looking at the Colony 15.
This is the most underrated box in the whole Busby lineup.
The deep can hold a lot of stuff.
The deep medium is so underrated. You can put anything from like containers, so like liquids and stuff like that, to tools, to hard baits.
Yeah.
Like this is, once I got one of these, it's like, I'm not gonna need this. I filled it up as like, here's what I'm fishing for the day. This is the most flexible box, I think, in the whole lineup.
And then you have your Colony 28, which is your 3700 size. We showed you a couple of those. And that also comes with a, can you get that thing?
And then it also comes in a deep model as well. This, I would say, is the reason I say the medium is more flexible is because of how big this box ends up getting. It's ginormous. But if you're into like swim baits like Jeff is, you got a lot of terminal as well as a lot of swim baits
filling up this box.
It's pretty fantastic.
They also come with these pull tabs, so if you're using a crate, which I do use a crate when I go fishing in my kayak, or you're a boat angler and you have these stored vertically, without seeing into the box, right, because you can't see through this part, and if they're all stacked next to each other, you can't see them, you can identify pretty quick. Yep, you can identify pretty quickly. So like red is my summer box, blue is my cold/winter box, purple for me is BFS, but like that's just a system that I use. You make up your own system, you can get these in whatever colors you want, they come in little packs, and then you just pull the boxes out. It's such a silly little thing, but it's very nice. And we mentioned it earlier, these are the exact same size. So if you're a kayak angler and you don't have anything under your seat, or you want all your storage to be in your crate, plastics can go in here right next to this. They're all the same size, and they fit inside of a crate like they're supposed to, which is really nice.
There are some Plano edges that we feel are worth looking into. The jig box is pretty sick though. It does come with some special options here. They do also make some other special boxes for specific baits, like jerk baits, crank baits. They have the ones where you kind of nestle it into all those pegs. I've never been a fan of those types of boxes. They've existed for a long time. That's just me. Maybe I'm crazy. The jig box, pros and cons here. It's really nice that you can keep them all separate. You've got your little water wick pack here that you can replace, so you're keeping the rust situation in check with all your jigs, which is the most commonly rusted item that I have in my entire tackle storage system. It's always the jigs that get rusted first, especially chatterbaits. So this is keeping my chatterbaits fresh. Those things are not cheap, so that is nice to have. Biggest issue that most people will see with this, you can see right here, those brush guards, they get squished.
Yep.
So the brush guards are gonna get deformed.
They will. It's a guarantee.
Every single one. So that is unfortunate.
My second biggest problem is that not all jigs fit into these nicely, and they do move around.
Yeah, so if you have smaller jigs, the Jackhammer Stealth is a good example, or the Mini Maxes, they will fall out of the slot. If you have bigger jigs, they won't fit into the slot.
Exactly.
And if you have banded jigs, I'll show you, I have a little Frankenstein chatterbait here. I put a 6 cents jig skirt on there. So you got that band. In that little gap there, because these are just plastic, it's going to wear down that band, and eventually your skirt will break.
100%.
It's gonna fall off. So some issues there I think are almost irredeemable, but otherwise,
it's great.
It's nice. I have like 100 jigs in here. So
this is where I feel like you can win with like a fast flat, because a fast flat can keep all these sideways.
If they have their own individual sleeves.
But you got to keep them in their own individual pack, which is why I say
save the pack.
Save the original pack, and it pretty much solves a lot of these problems. Now, it's not going to be perfect. You have to do a little digging. But with all of them being flat, this is why the fast flats being flat, you're like, well, I can't fit as much in there. It's kind of a benefit. 2 of those could easily replace this. It's still a smaller package, and you have, just by virtue of having 2 of those, you can split it out between micro and flipping jigs and then all your chatterbaits. So like there's a real opportunity there. That's probably one of the things I'm gonna be testing next year.
If you guys know of a different jig box that you feel is better, let us know in the comments below.
I will check it out immediately.
This right here is the pièce de résistance.
This is where Plano has won. This is just the best version of itself. So this is the terminal box. We already showed it to you. They've got well, you don't even have the weight one in here. They've got a version here that has the weights. I'll show you how that works. And there's where you gotta be careful.
And also it does come in a smaller 3600 box as well.
That one's my actual favorite. But you plop these open, and these are like silicone little trays right here. I'm trying to show you that for your weights. It keeps them in order. They do not move, which is really nice. All these a lot of these have windows, and then you can move these around. And this is where I actually have like jigs that have trailers that I like. I keep those in here. This thing is wonderful. And then there's a couple different sizes. So there's the like extra wide, and then there's like the mini ones, and there's ones that are actually even smaller than that.
Boom.
And I'm gonna be very careful closing this, and we did it. These get heavy, but they are ultra thin. I keep 2 of these next to me at all times, no matter what situation I'm in, and that's all my terminal as a kayak angler.
All these specialized Plano Edge boxes come in at a higher price point than the standard Plano Edge boxes, obviously, because they have specialized systems in them. Jig box, you're gonna run around 40 bucks. The terminal boxes is typically around 50. I think the Flex is also 50. And then if you get down to the smaller size terminal, it's a little bit less, not quite too much more. All right, so we just double checked the price. It's actually $65.
In some places, and in some places it's more like 45. So I think 50 is an average.
So with Buzzbee, we've talked about it before. They are slightly higher price point. You get what you pay for, in our opinion. We think they're worth it. Not everybody does. That's okay. That's how the world works. So the Colony 15 starts at 30 bucks. The Colony 28, the 3700 size, that starts at 40 bucks. And then you can get more trays to put in there to customize to your heart's content, and you can make your own specialty boxes as well. So, all right, you guys. Oh, wow. That was a plethora of tackle storage. I think we covered everything we possibly could. Even the stuff that we didn't feature, we've featured in previous videos, so you can refer back to those if you want our feedback on it. What are your favorite tackle storage options? Let us know in the comments below. We love to see that. If you have any recommendations for us to try in the future, let us know in the comments. We love you guys. Thank you, nerds, so much for watching this video. If you like it, consider smashing that like, and then maybe also subscribe so you can see more content like this. And we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Goodbye.